Hey everybody, let's make sure that we have our volume up, and you'll also need a highlighter for your test remediation. Okay, this is block 4. This is your test on functions and graphs, and the left side are the most missed problems. You are going to show all the work like we do in the video, and you have to do that on both sides. Alright, so first most missed problem had to do with end behavior. So here are all the descriptions for end behavior as x gets bigger, y gets bigger, things like that. So basically what we need to know is as x gets bigger, okay, so let's write this, x gets bigger, okay, that's going to be on the right side of the graph. That's going to be on the right side of the curve. So you should be looking on the right side of the curve. So the right side is over on this side. So when x gets bigger, which way is the curve going? Is it going up or is it going down? Well, it's going up. And up is where y gets bigger. My y values get bigger. So as x gets bigger, y goes up, which means it gets bigger. Okay, now, as x gets smaller, well, these are the x values and they're getting smaller, so we're on the left side of the curve over here. So let's write x gets smaller. Okay, so when x gets smaller, that means we're on the left side over here. The left side of my curve. Okay, so what's happening on the left side of my curve? Well, it's going up, which means y is getting bigger because the y values get bigger as we go up. So when x gets bigger, y is going to get bigger. When x gets smaller, y is still getting bigger. So let's find that answer. X gets bigger, y gets bigger. X gets smaller, y gets smaller. No, the y is going up. X gets bigger, y gets smaller. No. X gets bigger, y gets bigger. That's a yes. X gets smaller, y gets bigger. That's a yes. The answer is C. All right. What you need to keep in mind is when it says x gets bigger, it's telling you to look on this side of the graph, on the right side of the curve. When x gets smaller, that's over here. It's telling you to look on the left side of the curve and see what's going on. All right. Let's go ahead and say Happy Halloween. Write Happy Halloween right here next to T1. Okay, second most missed problem. In this problem, they are using two words called output and input. So the first thing we need to know is that input is the x part, and we put something in, and then when we simplify it, that's the output, which is the y part. So the input is the x, the output is the y. So the first one says the output is 1, okay, output is the y part, and it says the input is 3. So this says when I put 3 in, I get a 1 out. Well, let's see. If I put 3 in here, 3 plus 2 is 5. I do not get a 1 out. So this is not the correct answer. Okay, the second one says the output is x, and the input is 2. So this says when I put in 2 plus 2 is 4, it says I get x out, which is incorrect, completely incorrect, because this is the y spot. Okay? Next one, the output is 2. Again, that's the y part, when the input is x. Okay? This says when I plug in x, I get a 2. Well, I don't know that I get a 2 because they're not specifying what plugs in for x. So this isn't true. Okay, let's look at the last one. The output is 3. That's going to be the second part. The input is 1. So this says when I plug in a 1, I should get a 3. So I plug in a 1. 1 plus 2 is 3. So this is correct. All right. Let's see. Write your last name right here next to T2. Okay, I was a little surprised by this one. I thought this was kind of easy, but it was one of the most missed. Find the range. Keyword is range, so let's go ahead and highlight that. And we need to know that the range are the Y values of the ordered pair. We also need to know that in an ordered pair, the Y value is the second coordinate. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to highlight the Y values in each one of these ordered pairs. So I'm highlighting the second coordinate. And now let's just write those down. We've got a 4. We've got a -2. We've got a 1. We already have a 1 listed. We already have a -2 listed. We already have a 4 listed. So these are my range values. Notice they're written backwards because on a standardized test, they'll write them in numerical order. So the answer is B. All right, draw me a ghost right here. Okay, which graph represents a quadratic function with a minimum point? Keyword is minimum. Minimum point. Well, notice this has a minimum, this has a minimum, this has a minimum. This does not have a minimum. This point is a maximum. So letter B is already out of the picture because the vertex is a maximum. We need to be very careful when we're reading our keywords because this is a minimum, which leaves us with A, C, or D. Now the minimum point needs to be -3, 3. So let's go ahead and write our minimum points. This is -3, -3. So that's not it. This little guy right here is 3, 3. That doesn't match. So now this little guy here is -3, +3. Remember, ordered pairs, we record the X part first, then the Y part. The X part comes first, then the Y. So the correct answer is C. All right. If you're still listening, write I'm listening right here. Okie dokie. Very surprised with this one. This was a two-step inequality, and it was actually the lowest percentage of correct answers. I think 27% of my block 4 got this right. So not quite certain why you guys got tricked on this one, but let's go over it. So it's a two-step inequality. We are going to, first step would be to subtract 2 on both sides. We want to make sure we're showing all our work and we're not skipping steps. Bring down the -1/4. Bring down the inequality symbol. 10 minus 2 is 8. The last step is going to be to multiply both sides by -4 so that we can cancel over there. And we want to come over here and we want to write our golden rule, and I want you to write it down with me. When we multiply or divide both sides by a negative number, the inequality symbol switches direction. Okay, so the inequality symbol switches directions when I multiply or divide by a negative on both sides. I multiplied both sides by a -4. So my inequality symbol switches direction. And now -4 divided by -4 cancels. Ooh, I left my x off. So we're going to bring down our x. And now 8 times -4 is -32. I'm guessing maybe we forgot about the golden rule is the reason why it was the most missed. So that's that. All right, and now you need to do the right-hand side of the whole packet. And I hope everyone has a great day.